Welcome to the bunker.
Preppers, survivalists, off-gridders, homesteaders, and the like. Welcome to Top's Bunker, a podcast for preppers. Email shtf@topsbunker.com, website topsbunker.com, YouTube Top's Bunker podcast channel, and of course, X and Instagram. Please check the show notes in your podcast player for a link to help support the show. There you'll find valuable products and gear and extra info on this episode. Also, please visit and join Top's Bunker Facebook group. You'll love the interaction with other preppers and like-minded folks. I want to thank y'all for joining us. We got a great show for you. Tonight, we're talking about rucking, what it is, how to do it, and why we do it. So you strap on a fully loaded rucksack to your back and stand in front of the mirror grinning at yourself. Oh yeah, don't I look cool? Don't I look tactical? Now, don't lie. We've all done it once or twice. Hell, I'm guilty of it too. Way back when I was a younger man, I got my first rucksack, ran into the house, stuffed it with pillows, and stood there gawking at myself in front of the mirror for about 10 minutes. Then the real tragedy happened. After returning the pillows to the bed, I took my new pack to the closet. I hung it up next to my other gear, where it stayed, collecting dust for the remainder of its sad life. Rucks, backpacks, and kit aren't trendy. We don't get them to look cool or tactical. Are they tactical? Yes, by definition, they are. Tactical meaning specialized actions or items designed and used to achieve immediate, short-term, and specific goals. Rucksacks are designed to help your body carry a load from point A to point B. That is their tactical purpose. And though we may not believe this, people are also designed to carry a load from point A to point B. But we have to practice these actions to get good at doing them. Very few people can load 60 pounds onto their backs and shoulders and complete a long-distance hike. It is a fact that I am one of those who cannot do it. I fully concede and admit to the tragic truth that I suck at some shit. But in a real SHTF situation, when vehicles won't start and roads are blocked and staying home is no longer an option, your body becomes your transport and your strength and stamina become margins of distance. That's the reality of it. It's brutal. It's tiring. I'm tired just thinking and talking about rucking. My ego says, cool. My brain says, run away and hide, which is why this episode is important to me and hopefully to you as well. But we don't have to hope because there is hope. You see, we can train for this. By starting light and slow and being repetitive, we can build up to where we want to be. That's the essence of training. Tonight, we're breaking down why rucking may be one of the most practical, no-nonsense disciplines in preparedness, and why every mile you log now can make the future less intimidating. So let's do this.
And I'll just apologize to everyone up front. I feel like a liquefied bag of monkey shit right now, so I will try my hardest to hit the cough button when I get ready to cough. But I got my tea with a bit of whiskey and some cough drops, and I think we're gonna be okay.
And I gave him an out, everybody. I gave him an out. He didn't take it.
This is true.
Trooper.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So got back from the cruise, which was pretty great, and then like that night, maybe the next morning, I started feeling like crap.
You caught something on the cruise, man.
I don't know. Missy went into the cruise feeling kind of funky and it cleared up. So maybe it was like a delayed something or another.
2-week delayed? No.
I don't know, man.
No.
And every time I travel, I get sick. It's crazy.
Yeah,
I need to take what's that stuff called?
I used to.
Airborne?
I need to. I'm taking it. Yeah, I'm taking it next time.
So
I'm
funny story. The people that we were traveling with actually gave us this bottle. It's kind of like airborne, but it's for cruises, like being on a ship. And I ate 2 of them every morning along with my other supplements, and I didn't get sick. I didn't eat them that day that we left, and I got fucking sick.
Yeah. I mean, it probably has a zinc in it, and that's one of the things. That's one of the real things is that zinc. That
I don't know.
Good.
I'll have to take a look at it, but yeah. So what we're talking about tonight is we are talking about rucking, aka road marching, aka carrying heavy stuff on your back. And
the one thing that most preppers, survivalists talk about is most beginner prepper survivalists and definitely prepper groups talk about all the time is your gear and how you're going to carry it.
Mm-hmm. And I'd like to preface this all by saying, again, there is this romanticized idea that something's going to happen. You're going to grab your bag, you're going to slap it on your back, and you're going to hit the woods, and you're going to, live out the SHTF. There's only one big problem. Most people, and I would say probably more than 90%, maybe even 95%, they live a sedimentary lifestyle. They're not in shape. They're not in any kind of physical ability to just get their stuff and go. And that's the hard reality. In the United States, we are, just from my experience around the world, we are an obese nation. We really are. Because we have a lot of wonderful things that are available to us. And because of that, most people don't like to do hard things. And they also don't have the right mindset for it. So mindset is literally 90% or more of what you do. Your body is not going to do anything that you believe that you can't do. If you tell yourself, I can't, your body will not do. Henry Ford said, whether you think you can or think you can't, you're right. And so I kind of want to start it off with that, because rucking, or putting your go bag on your back and having to walk an extended period of time, it's not easy. You have to have the belief in your mind and the knowledge in your mind and the willingness to tell your body, we're going to make it home. And because if you don't think that, the moment that doubt enters into your mind, you're going to die if you don't have the ability to get your ass up and put that weight back on your back and start stepping it out. Your mind will allow you to accomplish amazing physical acts. But you got to form it. You got to train it. You got to learn how to take punishment. And a lot of people dispute that, but I would just say I broke my back and my neck in 2007 on a jump. And I completed a 100K race in the Uwharrie Mountains many years later. So when I met Missy, I was told and I was convinced that I couldn't run anymore. She convinced me otherwise. So we entered into quite many years of long distance endurance events. And in the Army, as short as I am, I was good at road marching. I had to learn how to do it, though. So what is rucking? Rucking is a form of exercise that's got a lot of roots in the military. So basically, it is walking a set distance while carrying weight in a backpack or, a bag of some kind. Rucking, or we also call it road marching or ruck marching. It comes from the word rucksack, which is essentially a good backpack on your back. So that's what a ruck is. A ruck is. I
always thought that the rucksack was that big giant bag they use like in World War II military. It's like a big giant bag that you threw all your stuff in.
Well, I mean, if you're talking about the big cylindrical bag, we call that. Yeah. We call that a duffel bag or a sea bag. The Navy guys, they call it a sea bag. And the Marines call it that. And literally SEAC, because they're on the sea a lot. Yeah, we call it a duffel bag. But the rucksack itself is actually the large backpack that we put on our backs, and we go out and we do, what we're going to do in the world with it.
Okay. So similar to backpack hiking.
Yeah. Yeah.
Where you carry that really giant one that's got all your stuff on it from the top of your head down to your ass.
Well, yeah, that is, and we'll get into that, but that is, you can consider that a ruck. Yeah, you can.
Okay.
So, and it's a really great form of exercise. Many people dispute this, but I'll just tell you, even though essentially all you're doing is walking with weight on your back, it's a lot more than that. It's a leg day. It's also core. It works literally your entire body. It is a buttload of cardio. And while you're out there, if you're not walking with a group of people, and even if you are sometimes while you're in the military, because sometimes it sucks, it's kind of like it's almost like a spiritual thing. Like who are you going to talk to? Like if you had to grab your stuff, if you're all alone, or if you're out in the world and something happens and you grab your go bag to go home, it's just you. So it gives you the opportunity to have some conversations with yourself, face some hard truths, I guess. But this particular form of exercise, you're burning anywhere between 150 to 200 calories a mile. So, and that also depends on the person, and it also depends on the weight that you're carrying. So if you're, just remember, more weight, more calories. And, despite what many people believe, it really is. And I've said this before, it's one of the best exercises you can commit to. If you do it right, it's got a lot of benefits, and it can actually be better for you than actual running. And people are like, well, you're not going fast enough to get your cardio up. I would tell you, I dispute that like heavily.
That's total bullshit. Man.
Yeah.
Total bullshit.
Yeah. So rucking itself, I mean, because I've carried some damn weight, I have carried some significant weight, and it does suck. And your heart feels like it's going to come out your eye. It is a lot of cardio, and running itself, especially if you haven't done it in a while, it can be a negative impact on your legs and your body. It really can. But in my opinion, the benefits of rucking outweigh the negative benefit, or the negatives of it. So if that makes sense. So now running, it's great. Don't get me wrong. It can be really high impact, especially for people who are just getting started. And there's a lot of reasons why people quit doing it. They're like, this is my year and I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. And they jump in, with everything all at once, and they don't do it right. They get hurt. And so when they get hurt, they're like, oh, this is stupid. I'm not doing this again. It's something that you have to build up to. And it's the same thing with rucking. I can't emphasize it enough that if you are going to live a prepared lifestyle, it starts with physicality. Gear is great. Stuff is great, but your physical fitness and your brain are your two biggest weapons. They really are. So why is this important to preppers and those who live, a prepared lifestyle? And I've said it before, and I just said it a while ago, this idea that you're just going to go in the woods and disappear and live out your life. No, you're not. You're not going to. If you don't train first, you're going to fail, and you will get injured while you're trying to do it, and you're not going to survive. So in the real world scenario of something, terrible happening, you trying to go out there for the very first time, having never carried this, bug out bag that's super tacked cool, and you got 80 pounds of shit in there that you've never actually carried other than just maybe up and down your steps, you're in for a world of hurt, because it's just not going to work out. It's just really not. And then you're going to end up dumping stuff that somebody else is going to take advantage of. And when they realize that you're shedding weight, they're going to find you. Eventually, they're going to find you.
Breadcrumbs.
Yeah. I mean, if I was going along and I found somebody just dumping gear, I would be like, well, there's another pile there. Oh, look, there's another pile there. And they're going to find some 300-pound person out there just wheezing and dying. I'm going to be like, hey, I'm going to take all your stuff now. Here's an MRE and a bottle of water. I feel bad for you.
I'll lighten your load, buddy.
Yeah. So the big question is, where do you want to start? And I tell people, before you even think about putting weight on your back, you need to actually be able to walk. That's what you need to be able to do first. And again, this goes back to that, sedimentary lifestyle, staying on the couch, not doing a whole lot. And, maybe you work out, maybe you lift some weights, do some CrossFit and stuff like that. That's great. However, if you don't understand the impact that rucking can have on your feet, and I'm not just talking about like the bottom of your feet, I'm talking about your whole ass foot. So my training for road marching actually is literally from like the toes up to your hips. That's actually what I'm trying to get at. So you got to be able to walk. And I call it the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 method. Let's say it's Monday. You are going to walk a mile in whatever shoes it is that you choose to use. Go walk a mile. If you can do that, wait 2 days, then go walk 1.5 miles. And then you get up to 2. And if you can go 2, a couple days later, do 3. Come back, rest, stretch, rehydrate, and do all those things. 2 days later, go out there and do 4. So when you get up to 5 miles with no weight, 5 miles, just straight continuous walking, then you're ready to start with some weight. And as counterproductive as that actually sounds, there's a lot of people out there who can't walk 5 miles. There's a lot of people out there who can't walk a mile. So how do they expect to grab all this cool gear that they bought and disappear in the woods? It's just,
Hey, Jeremy.
yeah.
Hey, can you explain why you want to wait a couple days in between your rucks?
Oh yeah. Well, the most common sense way to explain that is when you walk and when you run, but when you're walking, your muscles are going through this constant push-pull, contraction, expansion. And as you're going along, you may not feel it right away. It's kind of like any kind of physical exercise. When you go out there and you have a good pump, you're like, hell yeah, dude, that's awesome. After you're done exercising, if you don't take in the right amount of supplements and to include protein, your body starts to develop what's called lactic acid. Lactic acid binds to the muscle fibers. And that is where your soreness, when you feel sore, that is actually lactic acid that has bound itself to the muscle fibers. And the muscles in your legs are what called long muscle fibers. So they're weight bearing. They're able to take intensive movement from short to long, rapid to long movements. And if you go too far, too fast, and you're doing this every single day, you're going to destroy your legs. You really, really are. You got to do the work, and then you got to stretch. You got to take in food, protein, water, and you got to be able to get the lactic acid back out of your muscle fibers. It's going to happen again. It's just that the more you do it, the more your body becomes conditioned, the more your legs toughen up, the less impact that lactic acid is going to have on you. If you've never done it before and you just get out there and, slap on 50 pounds and go walk 5 miles, you're going to hurt like ever live in hell for 2 days, 3 days after that. It sucks, but that's the reality of it. So that's why I say walk first and ensure that you can actually walk some distance before you put the weight on your back. That's what I say. So does that answer the question?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I just wanted you to hit that point.
I mean, it's just because you can remember this in the Army, you get started off in basic training, they're going to PT the shit out of you. And all of a sudden one day you're slapping weight on your back and you're like, oh damn, I can't keep up with this dude who's, 6'2" in front of me. Why can't I do this? What the hell? And then the next day you're getting up
Story of my life.
you're getting ready to do PT again the next morning. And it feels like there's a golf ball in your hamstrings. It's like, oh, this sucks, So, but yeah, I mean, again, that's where I say that's where people need to start. And walking is interesting because just walking casually versus walking with a purpose has 2 different kind of impacts. You can because you have to think about it. If you tracked all the steps that you walk in a day, in a normal day, my average steps for my 10,000 steps is about 5 miles. You're walking around like that in your house anyways, So if you're walking around like that casually, you can do distance. You can. You just have to purpose yourself to go and actually go do it. That's really, it's just a mentality. You have to go do it. But literally the training part of it, it's literally the toes through the metatarsals, the Achilles, your heel, your calves, your knees, thighs, all of those are all major impact points while you're actually rucking. And to be successful while walking with weight, it means you have to toughen up those areas. So it's so stupid. When we were on the cruise, Missy insisted that I get a pedicure. I'm all about a pedicure. But the lady was really taking off a lot of my calluses. And I'm like, don't take them all. I need those. I need my feet to be tough. But the reason for that is that as you're going along, there's friction buildup. No matter what kind of socks you have on, they could be great socks. And I'll talk about that in a sec. But at some point in time, especially with a lot of weight, you're going to start getting hot spots. And you have to be able to recognize the pain as it starts to settle in. And sometimes it's not always beneficial to just push through pain. Sometimes you got to back off. You got to reduce your pace, or you got to take a break and, kind of chill and change your socks and make sure you powder your feet. And I know a lot of people say that as a cliche, but it's literally the truth. You have to powder your feet to absorb the moisture, and you got to change your socks. You want dry socks on your feet. So, but yeah, all of us, honestly, we all need to be tougher. And in order to be successful and actually make it out with that weight on your back, you got to toughen up. And that's just the hard truth of it. A lot of us are pretty tough dudes, but after a while, it starts to suck no matter what. It sucks. So starting out, when you're ready to put weight on your back, I say don't start with anything more than 20% of your body weight. So I weighed 185 this morning. That's 37 pounds of gear plus water. So that's gear and water together on my back. Now, you could say it's 37 pounds of gear, and then you can add that water. But if you think about how much water weighs, a 5-gallon container of water is 40 pounds. So water's heavy. So you got to kind of fit, like, where does my stuff go in line with the weight to include my water? You know what I mean? So 20% of your body weight starting out, and then gradually you increase your weight, and gradually. I'm not saying like Monday you're doing 20 or 37 pounds and then Wednesday you're doing 45. That's not what I'm saying. You got to get used to 37 pounds before you go up any more than that. So, and that's just the starting weight. I understand there's a lot of people who would argue that, like, how much weight should be in a bug out bag. Your bug out bag is your bug out bag. You put whatever you want to put in there. I don't care. My counter argument rotates kind of towards, like, what happens if your bug out bag becomes your what's called an inch bag, or I'm never coming home bag. Like, what happens if you don't have a home to come back to? Like, you don't have a place to go. And it's very speculative, of course, but from the beginning of what you're trying to do.
I coined it the "Don't Look Back" pack.
There you go. Yeah, don't look back. I mean, and that's the truth. Like, what happens if there's a wildfire? You just grab your shit and go. You're not looking back. They look back in Sodom and Gomorrah. Guess what? Pillars of salt. Don't look back. But the beginning of that is whether you can grab your stuff and leave without becoming a casualty, specifically of laziness. Like, if you're lazy now, when shit happens, you're going to be lazy then. And that's just the truth of it. You have to toughen up your mind. You have to toughen up your body. And unfortunately, a lot of people they think they're big and bad, like and unfortunately, a lot of veterans fall into that category. They're like, well, I did this and I did that, and I can do that still. No, you can't. Let me tell you this.
Keyword is did.
Did. Past tense. Yeah. When I did my first Robin Sage after I retired, I was broke off. Like, I was broke off. I was tired. I was sore. I was like, dude, these kids are like half my age. There's no fucking way I can keep up with them. But I can now. I just had to get myself back into that old mindset. And I think that's why I enjoy doing the contracts that I do, because it's what I used to do. It just feels like home. But how I got my start. So again, military, very specifically combat roles. Unfortunately, the military has a way of not teaching soldiers how to do things safely or correctly. It's very much, toughen it up. And if you can't be tough, you suck at life. And they'll badger the crap out of you until either you're successful or you're just labeled as a shitbag. And that's unfortunate, but that's the way of life for a lot of combat arms roles. Now, it's not like that for everyone. I had to change jobs more than halfway through my career. I was almost 16 years in when I had to change jobs. And I went from being an infantryman, being in actual combat, to being human resources. And that was like a huge eye-opener. So I was in an office setting with people who had never actually gone and done things. And I still had that infantry mindset. So I was like, I got to toughen these kids up. Like, there's no way they're going to survive if we deploy. So I would encourage everyone to just start walking. Just walk. Like, literally, that's what you need to start doing. And people have questions like, well, what kind of shoes? Your footwear has a lot to do with your comfort. And it's a careful selection. I would encourage everyone, if you're going to do this, go get a gait measurement first. So if you don't know what that is, you can actually go to a store like, say, Fleet Feet, and you can get on a treadmill, and they have these sensors that are built into their treadmill, and it measures your gait. Your gait is the distance when you walk naturally and when you run and when you trot from the tip of one toe to the back of your heel. So that is your gait. You need to go get that measured, and you need to get an analysis of your foot to determine what are the proper shoes that you're supposed to be wearing. And a lot of people don't do that because they just think shoes are shoes or shoes are shoes. I would tell you that they are not. And let's just say it's like, shoes are important. They're like hugely important.
Yeah, I did that. And I was in the wrong shoe. I love New Balance, or I used to love New Balance. And I would buy New Balance, and, the more expensive, the better they are, of course. And I did that same thing and got on the treadmill. The guy goes, "You're in the wrong shoe." And I'm like, "No, I'm not. I like these." He goes, "No, he goes, "You wear whatever you want. I'm just telling you, you're in the wrong shoe." And he goes, "You got all these injuries, probably because you're in the wrong shoe and you're putting in mileage and stuff." So
yeah, your footwear is extremely important. And if you're out and about, and let's say the shit does hit the fan, and all you have on is flip-flops, it's going to be pretty uncomfortable for you. It's not to say that you can't make it, but it's probably going to suck for you. So you got to find the shoes or boots that I would say always go wide. Like, you want to go wider than what you normally wear. And I say that because as you're going along, your feet are going to expand. But you have to be able to let your toes splay out naturally. And having a slightly wider shoe is going to allow for the swelling of your feet to be compensated for, because your feet will swell. They absolutely will swell. And I would say for your socks, you want something that's in between compression and cushion. So compression is extremely important because one of the reasons that my feet were getting so big is the blood was going to my feet, but it was slow coming back up to my calves and my thighs. So I ended up having to get compression sleeves for my calves. And what that does is it forces the flow of your blood to actually function correctly. And you don't have to necessarily get compression sleeves, but they are quite nice once you get used to them. But again, I always recommend going wider than what you normally would. And my brand, I guess my preferred brand would be Ultra. Ultras are made wide. And you can get them even wider, but they're made wide, like from the factory. And again, if you're willing to spend the money on them, they're not cheap. But because they do come wide, that allows my toes to like go where they need to go as they're being impacted. I have caveman feet essentially. And when I wear them, it doesn't hurt. And that's the best way I can put it. So if you're looking for a good shoe to wear, you can do those. You can do boots. And you can wear, I mean, hell, you could wear work boots, but I would suggest that you don't try steel toes, especially in the cold, because that's going to suck. But your footwear, again, is dependent on your budget and your comfort level. So if all you can afford is, Walmart shoes, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that per se. Just keep in mind that your shoes have got to be able to last to complete the mission of what it is that you're trying to do. If you're trying to get home, you need to make sure that the shoes that you're wearing are going to make it home. So if you spend money on the cheapest footwear possible and you spend $150 on a plate carrier that you don't ever wear, it doesn't make any sense. You know what I mean? Like, you can have all this other great gear, but you didn't pay attention to your shoes. Shoes are like extremely important.
I have a hack for every pair of shoes. First thing I do is when I buy a new pair of shoes or boots, I take out the footbed in it or the insole, and I buy a certain insole for them. So you can take a mediocre or even a pair of boots or shoes that are kind of worn out a little bit, and you can replace those insoles and you can get some extra mileage on them. You're bringing up great points about, your foot splitting and well, I'll spend the money on good boots and good shoes and socks and insoles. You know what I mean? And people, I've had people tell me, "What are you spending that money on that?" I'll wear a pair of hell overalls or even just pants that are torn up, but I'll have a good set of boots on that with some good insoles and good socks. And it's money well spent.
I love the Keens that I've got for hiking.
Yep.
I've got a couple pairs of Keens, but I got the Targhee 3s, and they are absolutely unbelievable. The most comfortable shoe I ever wore. I just got Rhonda for Christmas. I just got her the Targhee 4. That's the brand new one that's out, and she hasn't taken them off. The shoe matters.
I had a pair of Keens, and I literally wore them slap out. Like eventually they just gave up the ghost. And I wore them on missions. I wore them on contracts. They were so good. But again, does dollars equal good boots and shoes? Sometimes, yes. You got to be willing to spend some money on something other than cool guy gear. You got to spend some money on your feet. And you got to be willing to spend some money on some socks. Like, not all socks are the same. If you said, hey, we're going to go ruck march 20 miles, I think you've got some Hanes white socks. Hell no. Absolutely not. I do know. And in my experience, straight cotton socks on a road march will literally tear your foot off. It's just horrible.
You might as well have a match down there.
You might as well go ahead and put sandpaper and like chlamydia in your feet and just walk on that. Because I'm going to tell you, the pain from pulling your entire heel off of your foot is indescribable. Like, here's a point in case. Missy was doing PT with me one day, physical fitness, and my particular unit, I was in 1st Special Forces Command. We were going to go do, I think it was either 8 or 12 miler. I can't remember. Just road march. And I had a couple officers talking smack, and I told her, I was like, hey, I'm going to lay waste to these dudes. I'll see you back at the end. Well, she hadn't worn those boots in quite some time, and she was just wearing her plain, issue socks, and she pulled the entire heel, like the flesh, off of her foot, and she had to be in high heels the next day. I felt so bad for her. I mean, it took forever for it to actually heal up too, because that's a constant friction point,
I've seen it, man. It's terrible.
Yeah, I mean,
it's terrible.
I've seen dudes literally like, who hadn't changed their socks and just kept going and kept going. And that they're in pain. You can see it when they're walking. And then they take off their socks for you to look at, and the whole bottom of their foot is just blood. It's just flesh, just like completely ripped off their foot. And that's a horror story, but it's the reality of it. Again, you think that you're going to just grab your stuff and go, when the stuff hits the fan, and you're not. You're going to hurt yourself. And after you've hurt yourself in that kind of situation, if you can't force yourself to continue and you're a casualty, things could get real bad, like super duper fast. You know what I mean? Like you got to toughen up your feet, and that requires for you to actually get out there and do it. Like you have to go do the thing in order to get tougher from it. So, socks. Yeah. I prefer the ones that are in between thick and compression. And for your boots and your shoes, I would suggest, it's not a requirement, but I would suggest something over the ankles to give you that support. I've trashed my ankles many, many, many times. I broke my calcaneus on my left foot several years ago. So now if I know that I'm going to go do something like that, I actually have a brace that I put on just to give myself a little bit more support in my ankle. So, and you need to have several pairs with you, and you need to have foot powder or the spray, but powder, in my opinion, is a little bit better. It lasts longer, but you got to be able to dry out, and you got to change your socks. So how do you pack your ruck? So that starts with the bag itself. I love my old Alice pack. That's just my personal preference. I grew up with it in the Army. I had one when I was a kid.
What's an Alice pack?
So Alice pack is like when you see the older Army equipment, big bag, 3 pouches on the outside. It's got a metal frame, and on the bottom of the frame, it's got a pad that goes against your back. And I try to remember the acronym, but it's ALICE. It's an Alice pack.
It also doubles as a couch.
Yeah, it doubles as a
furniture.
A seat, a pillow. You can wrap it in the poncho, and you can float a river. It's literally the bag that we lived out of. So, and they've got different sizes. They've got the large, which is your normal, what you see. They have a medium, and then they have a small. I personally have a modified medium. I've added stuff to it. I've modified it. So it holds a ton of stuff, but it's not physically as large as a large. Like it's not as big as the large Alice pack. But that's my preference. And I've modified the pad. I have a thing in the frame that actually prevents the frame from rubbing up against my back. Several different things, different shoulder pads and all this different stuff. But I've had it for years, and it's just my preference. Now we transitioned in the military to the Molly and the Molly 2 Ruck, and they're good. Don't get me wrong. But I am not a huge fan of the frame. The frame is this molded polymer kind of plasticky material. I've seen them snap. I've seen them break.
I was about to say they break easy.
And especially if they get cold. If they get cold, God, that material gets brittle. And I've seen dudes just, drop their ruck and it snapped. Just absolutely
right in the middle of a mission.
Yeah.
Then what do you do?
Yeah. So that's just my preference. And the frame on the Alice is metal. So it's harder to break it, but you can if you try, but it's just harder to break it. But I do recommend a pack with a frame, and that can be an internal frame or an external frame. But your go bag or your bug out bag or whatever you want to call it, your I'm not going home bag or your don't look back bag, I would suggest that it have a waist band that you can actually buckle and cinch up. If all you have is your JanSport backpack that you used in high school, that's okay too. But you want something to go around your waist to relieve the weight from your back and your shoulders. It's not a lot, but you want to be able to take some of that weight and put it onto your middle trunk. Like you got to be able to buckle into that thing and tighten it down. And I would also suggest that you have a waist strap, or a chest strap. So you put your arms through your straps and you get it pulled down a little bit, and then you take that chest strap and you cinch it down, and it brings your shoulder pads into the center, like towards the center of your chest. So it's actually...
Yeah, but John Wayne didn't have that.
No. But the thing also is that if you just leave your shoulder straps where they are or whatever, and you don't have a chest strap, what it's doing is as you're walking along and the material starts to loosen up and your shoulder straps starting to kind of like go out, you're going to constantly be trying to pull them in. And it puts a tremendous amount of pressure on your shoulders, your traps, your neck. So you want to try to bring those straps in towards the center of your chest. And it's a suggestion y'all can do as you see fit. But if you look at pictures of road marchers, or you look at pictures of military ruck marching, you're going to see where most of them will have that chest strap on both sides and they cinch it down. So it almost looks like two C's that are curved in towards each other. So I think that's pretty important.
You got to use them, man.
Oh yeah, dude.
I'm coming from experience. I didn't use it because I was too cool, too cool for it. You know? And then later on in my career, it's like, okay, I don't care what I look like. I'm, with the back pain and the strains and the spinal stuff that happened,
Yeah. So having a waist strap and a chest strap, very, very beneficial.
Yeah, definitely.
So your immediate need items and your heavy gear need to be higher. I would say practically no lower than center mass of your rucksack. I mean, because your immediate needs, of course, are your things that you want to get out first, right? You want to be able to grab them and you don't want to have to go searching. So you want your immediate needs and you want your heavier stuff on top. I use the phrase high and tight. You want that rucksack high on your back and you want it tight against your body. It improves the center of gravity on where the actual ruck sits in your body. And it actually improves your posture. So by tightening that thing down against your body and getting it cinched down so where there's not a lot of movement, your body will kind of force itself to stand up taller. It actually does improve your posture over time. And you do not, and I mean this, you do not want a bunch of excessive movement from your ruck against your body. If you have never experienced chafing and heat rash from not wearing your gear properly, it will literally crush your spirit, and it's probably going to stop you in your tracks. If you want to be a casualty during SHTF, have your stuff flopping all over your body because it's gonna suck, especially if it's warm outside. And Buddy can tell you, heat rash and chafing from your gear is horrible. It's absolutely horrible. And if you don't know what chafing is, when it starts to warm up, go outside, and wear your shortest booty shorts that you possibly can and just start rubbing your thighs together. Just start rubbing.
Keith doesn't own any of those.
Oh my gosh, dude. It's just, it's a hard sensation to describe. I can't describe it well, but it's awful, especially when you get heat rash mixed in with it, or prickly. Some people call it prickly heat. Some people call it heat rash. It's horrible. It's literally just sweat and dirt and funk that gets forced down into your pores, and it creates a literal rash from the heat. So, so what goes in your ruck? I can't answer that for you. Excuse me. Stand by.
Well, we preach this all the time, basically. You only put stuff in your ruck that you can use. If you got a bunch of shit in there you're not trained on, don't carry it. Don't put it in your ruck until you're trained to use it. And, maybe stop at 3 ways of starting a fire instead of 18.
Yeah.
And, instead of carrying, 20 pounds of water, maybe get something that's going to filter that water for you, save yourself. Do bring water with you, but then have some way of,
procuring water. Yeah. Procuring water is probably, I would say, just as important, if not more important than the water that you have with you, because water you have with you is going to run out. Yeah. I can tell you from personal experience, having done significant distance during a road march, you will get thirsty AF. You will get thirsty. And again, during physical fitness or any other time of the day, if you already feel thirsty, you are already dehydrated. That's the body's way of telling you, hey, you have screwed up, you're dehydrated. And that's where thirst actually comes from. And again, I can't tell anybody what to put in your ruck or your bag or whatever it is that you want to call it. That's up to you. I would just tell you to go back into some of our previous episodes and re-examine the rules of 3 and the C's of survival, and I'll go over them again. Of course, I modified them. So the rules of 3 seconds without hope or indecision, and that's a survival mindset. 3 minutes without breathable air. So you go into asphyxiation, even from severe blood loss. 3 hours without shelter in an extreme environment, you die of exposure. 3 days without water, you're going to die of dehydration. 3 weeks without food, some people can do more. You're going to eventually die of starvation. And then there's another one that a lot of people don't think about, and that's 3 months without human contact. We have an inherent need to connect with other humans, even if we don't like them, because I don't sometimes. But you got to have somebody to spill the tea with. You do. You really actually have to have another human to interact with.
I'm just bringing Wilson with me.
Wilson! That movie, even though I'm not a huge fan of Tom Hanks, that movie is actually one of the best movies that I can actually recommend to going back into the tough mindset, to actually having the mindset to survive. At one point in time, he almost ended it, and he told himself he can't. When you tell your body that you can't, you're not going to. Once you've made up your mind that I cannot do this thing, that's it. You're done. I think personally, survival really does start with the mind. You've got to be able to make a decision to survive. If you do not, and you don't make that decision rapidly, you're just another casualty. That's all it comes down to. And then, of course, the C's of survival. I'll just go through those. So cutting, combustion, cover, a container, cordage, cotton bandana, or something to cover your face with, cargo tape, compass. And again, in the old model, it's cloth sail needles, something to repair your stuff, and then a candling device, which, of course, is your illumination. So the 10 C's have been around for a long, long time. People have modified them. People have changed. This list is a little bit modified. But again, road marching, rucking, there's a million and one places to learn about it. Missy has actually competed in an event, or not competed, but participated in an event called Go Ruck. And that is just one of a myriad of organizations out there that actually do rucking as a competitive event, or just to build camaraderie, or, something along those lines.
Yeah, there's a bunch of accountability groups out there, and they're all over. They're in your area, I guarantee you.
Oh, especially around Fort Bragg. There's a ton of them. Even some of the guys that run with RWB, which is red, white, and blue. It's a running group, but there's also another subset that actually does road marches. And they road march these different races, carrying the American flag, and they carry pictures on their rucksacks of fallen soldiers. So, and
you can actually go to Go Ruck and get free ruck plans. Ruckingbasics.com is another one. What's the other one? Ruck training.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's .net or .com or something, but
if you went on YouTube and just put on there rucking for beginners, you're going to find probably 10,000 videos. You're literally going to find that many, because it's become such a popular form of exercise. While you're road marching or rucking or whatever you want to call it, depending on how much weight you have, you're working your feet, you're working your legs, you're working your thigh. That's why I have such big legs. Honestly, that's one of the reasons why I have these big ass thighs is from road marching for so many years. So like I could be in my neighborhood, which is nothing but military. If I went road marching through my neighborhood, actually carrying a weapon, it wouldn't be out of the norm. And now somebody might, freak out. But I mean, if you really wanted to practice that mindset, go to an Army Navy store and find you what's called a rubber duck. Spray paint it like bright orange or, blue or blue, and it's literally just it's a big rubber weapon, and it's made to simulate the weight and the shape of our issued weapon.
Oh, I have a story about that, but that's for another day. Yeah, a squad of guys with about 3 police cars coming down on us. Weapons wrong.
I have something similar. When I very first joined the Army, I was a young battalions equals probably, I don't know, several thousand people, let's just say. The brigade sergeant major was ugly, man, scarred up from one side to the other, just The true definition of a gritty ass should get shot in the leg and go do a 12-mile run. I don't want to do that. And then I got shot in the leg in a different circumstance long time ago. And I'll just say it was an accident. Now, I have been injured in combat. When I was in high school, some friends of mine and I they got together and they were hot loading shotgun shells with basically whatever was inside. But when he shot, it actually mushroomed the barrel completely. And I was like, oh shit. And I put my hands up. And like one of those pellets had embedded itself in my hand. It was like my hand ballooned. I was like, oh, my mom's going to be pissed. We had to go to the ER and they didn't want to take it out at the time because they were afraid to train some of his medics. I was like, yeah, dude, go ahead. Just do it. Do what you got to do. I do set off that little scanner thing at the airport because I've got hardware in my shoulders. And one time I got so mad at TSA, I had this huge leg brace. I was going through the thing and he's like, hey, we got to look at your leg. Here, take a look at it. And I dropped my pants right there in the middle of the airport. I might just drop my pants. And I was like, next time I'm going to take a Viagra before I come through this line. A true infantryman has no shame. They'll pull out their shit in most inappropriate places. It probably smells good too. So,
you know, none of this is getting in the show, right?
Oh,
like none of it.
Why?
because we're already at an hour and you haven't even finished your rucking stuff yet.
No, I'm done with that.
He's done.
Yeah, I'm done. Yeah, I'm done. I would just say in conclusion, again, being able to ruck march or, carry your gear properly takes training. It is not something that you can just safely jump into without conditioning your body, conditioning your feet and your knees and your thighs and all those different things.
Well, I can because I'm awesome, but go ahead.
Right. But, there's some, cockstrong dudes out there. But again, I'll just say this. I'm 5'6" on a good day. I have gone more than 40 miles with about 85 pounds on my back. So if you have this like romanticized idea that you can carry a shit ton of weight just for a buttload of distance without getting ready to actually do it, then I think for most people that is beyond reality. It's not realistic. That's what I'll say.
Just get out there and train.
And get your butthole checked.
Oh, God.
Did you do that yet?
No,
you ain't got to say. You can say fuck off. I'm just asking you.
No, I haven't yet. No, of course not.
Dude, just go get it done.
Well, yeah. I've got a trip, and then after my trip.
See? He's after the trip. You know what? Get drunk down there and just have somebody check it for you.
Hell yeah, man.
Yeah.
I mean, once they get past the hemorrhoids, it's nothing.
Yeah.
My prepper brothers and sisters, rucking is uncomfortable. Our backs, shoulders, our legs will ache. Our hips, knees, and cankles will feel it too. In an SHTF bug-out scenario, you won't be negotiating with the terrain. You won't be asking the distance to be shorter. You'll move because you have to. You'll have no choice. When you ruck consistently, that future possibility loses its edge. It stops being this looming unknown and becomes something measurable. You've walked 5 miles under load. You've handled hills. You've trained in the rain. You've proven to yourself that you can carry the weight of what matters most, and you don't have to be extraordinary to start. You just have to be willing. Start light, be consistent, and add weight over time, and let the distances shape you. Stay prepped, stay happy. Thanks for listening, and good night.